Hey everyone, we all know the name Jimmy Carter, right? It's one of the most respected former US presidents. Not just for his time in the White House, but for the incredible humanitarian work he's done since leaving office. Have you ever wondered how much money someone like Jimmy Carter leaves behind? What kind of wealth does a former president actually accumulate? And how does he choose to spend it? Well, the answer might surprise you. Stick around until the end because we're diving into the surprising details of Jimmy Carter's net worth, how he built his wealth, and where that money is going. You won't believe how different his financial legacy is compared to other former presidents. First, let's take a quick look at Jimmy Carter's background. Born in 1924 in Plains, Georgia, Jimmy Carter came from very humble beginnings. His family lived on a peanut farm, and life was anything but glamorous. Carter learned the value of hard work from a young age, helping out on the farm and growing up in a small-town community. That work ethic stayed with him throughout his life, and it's one of the reasons he's remained so humble. Even after becoming one of the most powerful men in the world, Carter's political career began when he was elected as the governor of Georgia in 1971, and just a few years later, he became the 39th President of the United States in 1977. Unlike many politicians who come from wealthy families or have significant personal wealth, Carter didn't have a fortune when he entered office. In fact, when he left the presidency in 1981, he returned to Plains, Georgia, and lived a relatively modest life compared to other former presidents. So, how much money did Jimmy Carter make during his presidency? Here's an interesting fact. When he was president, his annual salary was $200,000. Now, that might sound like a lot, but when you compare it to the millions that modern presidents make through book deals, speaking engagements, and business ventures, it's actually quite modest. But here's the thing: Carter never prioritized wealth. His focus was always on serving the public, not making money. After leaving office, Carter could have easily cashed in on his fame. Many former presidents go on to write best-selling memoirs, charge massive fees for public speaking, or invest in lucrative business ventures. But Carter took a different path. Instead of chasing wealth, he dedicated his post-presidency life to humanitarian work. Founding the Carter Center in 1982, the Carter Center focuses on promoting peace, fighting disease, and improving human rights worldwide. Carter poured much of his time, energy, and even his own money into these causes. One of the most remarkable things about Jimmy Carter is his simple lifestyle. Unlike many former presidents who live in luxurious mansions, Carter and his wife Rosalind live in the same modest ranch house in Plains, Georgia, that they built in the 1960s. The house is worth about $200,000, less than the cost of a luxury car for some wealthy individuals. Think about that for a moment. A former U.S. president living in a home that's worth far less than the mansions of many celebrities and politicians today. But how did Carter build his wealth over the years? Surprisingly, most of his wealth didn't come from politics. Instead, it came from his peanut farm and his books. Carter is a prolific author and has written more than 30 books, covering topics from his political career to his thoughts on faith, human rights, and even poetry. His books have been well received, and they've contributed significantly to his net worth. Now, let's get to the big question: how much money did Jimmy Carter leave behind? As of recent estimates, Carter's net worth is around $10 million. While that might sound like a lot to the average person, it's relatively modest compared to other former presidents. For example, Barack Obama's net worth is estimated to be around $70 million, and Bill Clinton's is even higher at about $120 million. So, compared to his peers, Carter's wealth is much more modest. But here's where things get really interesting. Carter has made it clear that he doesn't plan to leave his fortune for personal gain. Instead, much of his wealth will continue to support the causes he cares about most: peace, human rights, and health initiatives through the Carter Center. In fact, the Carter Center has done incredible work over the years, from nearly eradicating guinea worm disease to promoting FAIR, elections in countries around the world. Carter's legacy isn't about how much money he made. It's about how much good he did with what he had. Another thing to note is Carter's commitment to charity. It's been heavily involved with Habitat for Humanity, an organization that helps build homes for those in need. Even into his 90s, Carter was seen building homes with his own hands. Think about that while many people his age would be enjoying retirement. Carter was out there doing physical labor to help others. That speaks volumes about his character and his priorities. So, what does all this tell us about Jimmy Carter's financial legacy? It shows that true wealth isn't just about money, it's about impact. Carter's life is a powerful reminder that you don't need millions in the bank to make a difference. His focus has always been on helping others, and that's a legacy. That money can't buy dot in a world where many public figures are chasing fame, power, and wealth. Carter stands out as someone who chose a different path. He could have easily used his status to build a massive fortune, but instead he dedicated his life to service. And that's why he's so admired today, not for his wealth, but for his values. Before we wrap up, let's reflect on what we've learned. Jimmy Carter's story teaches us that success isn't just measured by how much money you have. It's about the impact you make, the lives you touch, and the legacy you leave behind. Carter's modest lifestyle, commitment to charity, and dedication to making the world a better place are what truly set him apart. So, what do you think? Are you surprised by how much or how little money